Hi, everybody. Mitch Tanenbaum here. Thanks for joining me tonight. This is the security news update for October 8th, 2023. I apologize. I have a bit of a cough, so I may wind up clearing my throat a little bit tonight. Um, in the Security and Privacy Alerts Department, there's a new Linux uh, attack going on called Looney Tunables. Somebody was being creative and enjoying themselves. It affects at least the Fedora, Ubuntu, Debian, and Red Hat distributions. The bug is in the glibc library, which a lot of folks use. And I guess the good news, if there is any good news, is that the bug requires you to chain exploits, but all that means is the bad guys have to get some form of foothold in your system, which is relatively easy to do in order to exploit this. And once they do that, they can become root. So each of the distributions will have their own patch for this. And you should watch out for that when it becomes available for your distribution, and you should install it. In the privacy department, the big uh, uh, lobbying group for the hospital industry, the American Hospital Association, is lobbying Congress, trying to get them to put pressure on Health and Human Services to say that tracking people's medical conditions on the hospital's websites and selling that data to Facebook and Google so that they can target ads to you should be okay. HSS came out uh, earlier this year and said that that's a potential HIPAA violation, which I tend to agree with, but I'm not the law, so whatever. Um, so we shall see what HSS does, but I think that's a reasonable thing, right? I mean, I don't think that people need to have their activities when they go to some kind of hospital's website to go look at their conditions to get that data sold to marketers to be able to market whatever kind of whatever to them. In a separate issue, but also related to healthcare, HIMSS, which is a medical tech trade group, so that's of IT folks in the healthcare industry, says that some medical device manufacturers are refusing to sign business associate agreements with them, even though their devices contain protected health information. Um, the legality there may well be that if you can't get them to sign it, you as the provider are on the hook. And your alternative is to go find a different provider of the hardware. Um, Not great for the hospital or doctor's office if that's the situation that you're in. Next, in the software and hardware department, EchoMark has released a bit of watermarking software, which is, I think, really interesting. We shall see where it goes and how effective it really is. But what they say is it's designed to track insider threat and insider leaks. So what they do is in the background, transparently, they watermark emails and files. And then, if the files become exposed, then maybe let's say the files are placed on the dark web and available for download, then you can go off and you can download that file and figure out whose copy that was, because each copy is going to be uniquely watermarked. So if you send 10 copies to 10 people inside your company, each one will have its own watermark. I don't think it's a silver bullet, but I do think it's interesting. And for folks that are worried about their data being leaked, that might be a useful tool to go help them figure out what to do about it. Next, in the important issues and patches department, the XM mail servers, which is very, very popular mail server, millions of copies out there, as a 0 day. And of course, mail servers are by definition exposed to the internet, otherwise they can't quite receive mail and send mail. Um, the bug was reported, and here's the interesting part about it. XM is open source. It was reported in June of 2022. Nobody did anything about it. So this May, almost a year later, they resubmitted the bug, the people who found it. They still haven't done anything, so they basically said WTF, and they released the details of the bug. That happened on September 27th, so that's about 2 weeks ago, I guess. Um, you know, people say that open source software is secure. Some is, some isn't. I don't think that's a big differentiator for using open source. Um, but we get situations like this where obviously there's nobody really supporting this thing, and as a result of that, the stuff is not getting patched. Um, Next, in about 2 weeks, Chase is going to block crypto payments via debit card or outgoing wires. Right now, that's only in the UK. I'm guessing that is a trial balloon. Um, but on October 16th, they're going to block that. They say there's just too much fraud, and they claim to be doing that to protect consumers, which I think there's a lot to be said. But if your bank is Chase and you're in the crypto space and you want to go off and play Russian roulette with your money, then Chase may not be your bank. That may not be the bank for you. Next, Apple has released a fix for the iPhone 15 overheating and being able to warm your tortillas just by laying it on top of your iPhone. Um, they're also fixing unspecified other bugs. Um, they say that the phone is okay to use, even though it might burn your hand, um, unless there's a red thermometer in the middle of the screen. They can say that you don't have to worry about the other than the red thermometer problem. The other bugs they're fixed, they're not saying, but normally it takes like a month or so for patches to get out, and they're saying this one is going to be really quickly. So, given they have to release this patch to 1 billion phones, I'm guessing they must think this is pretty important, and probably because for people saying that they got burned from their phone, probably A is not good for Apple's PR, and B could create some uncomfortable lawsuits. Next, both ARM and Qualcomm are warning of a GPU driver being exploited by hackers. These are not related to each other, but both are saying that the bugs are being exploited in a while. Now, obviously, in targeted attacks, which will become very untargeted probably by the time you listen to this. Um, the problem is it requires updating the GPU drivers, which kind of means you got to figure out how to get from ARM to your device maker to you these patches. And probably almost everything nowadays has GPUs in it, so it's going to be interesting. Um, Under the legislative and legal banners, this was great. Always every week there's at least one, maybe two or three crypto stories. Um, this is in Singapore, and there is a crypto dumpster fire called Three Arrows Capital. One of the co-founders was arrested at the airport trying to flee the country. Um, Zhu Su is his name. He is going to be a guest of the Singapore police now. I am not sure that they will necessarily be terribly gentle with him. The Singapore police are not known to be super gentle. His partner in crime, literally his partner in crime, in this case, um, has managed to evade arrest so far. But I'm guessing that Interpol and other folks are looking for him, so they'll find him. Also in the legal department, Blackbaud, who makes learning management software for schools, has agreed to pay almost 50 million bucks to settle claims from a lot of attorneys general. Um, this includes uh, participating, is that the right word? Uh, Participating in ongoing risk assessments for the next 7 years. The breach affected about 13,000 schools and a million users, so it's a big deal. In the breaches department, in the gift that keeps on giving sub department, uh, the Move It breach is continuing to grow. Now it is up over 2,200 organizations, more than 65 million people. 1,600 of those were third parties. This is really where third party risk management comes in, right? So, if 2/3 of the organizations affected were third parties, that means that the people who are going to get sued are not the ones who are directly the cause of the breach. So for example, a third party billing service provider uh, was announced um, that they were hit, and that affected 55 different medical entities in 20 different states. So from that perspective, you got one victim there in one sense, and 25 different companies get hit with the damages. The Clop ransomware group said, and I think this is a great thing, is you know, if you don't test your software before putting it on the internet, don't blame us for being your penetration testing service. Now, you might want to pay us to go off and test your software before you put it on the internet. That's probably a better strategy than letting the Clop ransomware group do it. But either way, it will get tested. Um, it's a little bit more proactive, obviously, if you let us do the testing. Next, MGM says that they're writing $100 million off to third quarter profits, but they don't think it's going to have much effect on yearly profits because they think fourth quarter is going to be strong. We shall see. Next, the Thor Swap crypto exchange shut down their web interface after a $400 million heist. Now, this heist actually happened last year, and the funds that were stolen belonged to our buddy Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX. Curiously, the crypto remained dormant until Bankman-Fried's trial started, and his insurance company has refused to pay his bills. So maybe this has something to do with Mr. Freed. I don't know. Um, some people who are super into privacy whined about ThorSwap helping the feds, pointing out that others pointed out that they are a U.S. company unless they want to go to jail as well, along with Mr. Bankman-Fried. They have to help the Fed. So we shall see what happens there, but that's 400 million in crypto down the flusher. Um, Next, the Black Cat hacker group stole 6 terabytes of data on 2.5 million patients from McLaren Health up in Michigan. But they say everything is cool now, not to worry. On the other hand, Black Cat says their backdoor is still in place. They haven't been ripped out. Which one is true? Who knows? I kind of bet on the hackers personally, but because the McLaren said, well, they experienced a ransomware event, and they are investigating reports that some of their data may be available on the dark web. It sounds like they're kind of hedging their bets there. They don't really know what's going on. Next, in California, which kind of affects the rest of the nation, the California Privacy Protection Agency, the group that oversees California's privacy law, has published new draft regulations addressing AI, risk assessments, and cyber audits. These are good, even if you're not directly involved. Your customers or suppliers might kind of force the issue, so it'll be useful to watch what's going on there. And plus, they're probably good standards. Maybe with some tweaks if you're not required to do everything. Next, Meta continues to fight GDPR, but continues to lose. Right now, they're fighting wars on multiple fronts. One, for example, they're being assessed a fine of $94,000 a day. For another one, they're being assessed a fine of 1.3 billion. The problem is that if they give in, that will destroy their business model, because if they can't steal your data, then they don't really have a business model. So, their best hope out of all this would be to come to some kind of negotiated settlement. And we'll see, how accommodating the courts want to be. I'm guessing since this is an American tech company, the European court's probably not going to be terribly accommodating, but we shall see. For those of you who are old enough to remember Johnny Carson's top 10 list, we got another top 10 list. In this case, it came out from our friends at the National Security Agency. It is the top 10 breach methods and they're caused by misconfiguration. This is not super secret high-tech exploits. This is just people not doing the right thing. So, kind of look at this list and see whether you're guilty of any of these things. And if you are, change them. And last but not least, the security news bites. Our buddies at Google kind of oopsied. They had a feature of Bard which allowed you to share the results of Bard with a friend. Unfortunately, those results, which included a link and did not require any kind of password, were indexed by Google search engine folks. So if you thought those results were private, not so much. Google is trying to fix that, by the way. Next, one of the things that the Writers Guild wanted to do in settling their strike is limit the impact of AI on the writers' income. They did cause some short-term wins there, but I don't think long-term that's going to have a super big impact. The challenge, of course, is not everybody is part of the Writers Guild, not all the studios. So we shall see what happens there. Obviously, the big studios are, and this will live for a little while. But I suspect, this just makes those studios anti-competitive, and what they'll do is go buy scripts from other people, which don't have to deal with that. So it'll work out okay for everybody but the writers. Next, Sam Bankman-Fried is suing his insurance company because guess what? And this is pretty impressive. He had $10 million worth of insurance. He's already eaten through that. And so the insurance company say, we're done paying your legal bills. I'm not exactly sure how you eat through $10 million of legal fees in just a couple of months, but I guess these lawyers are high priced. We shall see whether he gets his way, but I'm guessing if the policy has a $10 million cap, then that's all you get. Russia is good at self-inflicted wounds. You may have heard, not related to cyber or AI, they shot down 2 of their own planes in the last week or 2, so that's not great. But now they're hacking themselves as well. So all in all, not a great day if you're from Mother Russia. And last, Google and Yahoo are going to increase the authentication requirements for mass mailers. It's not going to affect you or me. You have to be mailing 5,000 pieces a day before it affects you. But obviously, the big spammers, they do that and more. So this is all about authentication and stuff. We shall see how much of an effect it has, but anything they do to go improve that would be a good thing. So with that, thanks for listening. Stay safe until next time. And if you need any assistance, please reach out to us. Thanks.
Turnkey Cybersecurity and Privacy Solutions offers the complete cybersecurity program for small to medium-sized businesses. They include everything needed to secure your business and meet compliance requirements. Visit our website at turnkeycybersecurityandprivacysolutions.com to learn more.